Picture this, you're standing in front of a mirror, chest puffed out like a superhero, fists on your hips, legs spread like you own the room. You're not auditioning for a low-budget Marvel reboot, you're power posing. Because science said it would make you confident, right? Well, sort of. Back in 2010, a study claimed that standing like Wonder Woman for 2 minutes could boost testosterone and reduce cortisol, basically transforming you into a boardroom assassin. The world ate it up. TED Talks were made. Business bros posed. Job interview rooms became tiny stages for invisible musicals. And then came the oops. Turns out, follow-up studies couldn't really replicate the results. One massive study with over 1,000 participants found no hormonal effects at all. So instead of becoming a lion in the meeting room, you were just a confused human doing performance art in the bathroom. But here's the twist. People did report feeling more confident, not because of the pose, but because they expected to. Welcome to the placebo effect with extra jazz hands. The real power move, tricking your own brain into thinking a pose matters. That's right, you lied to yourself and it sort of worked. Neat. So if you want to pretend to be Superman before asking your boss for a raise, go ahead. Just know your hormones are probably off doing their own thing, like watching Netflix. Ah yes, the golden rule of bad advice. Just smile. Feeling sad? Smile. Anxious? Smile. Your dog ran away, your rent is overdue, and you just stepped on a Lego. Slap on that happy face and get over it, champ. Here's the psychological pitch, the facial feedback hypothesis. It says that if you force yourself to smile, your brain will think, hey, muscles are smiling, must be joy time. Sounds like a cheat code, right? Just bend your lips and hack your emotions. Well, no. First of all, smiling through genuine pain is like duct taping a crack in a dam. It leaks weird energy. Studies now show that forcing a smile when you're upset can actually make things worse. Your brain's not an idiot. It knows you're faking it. And instead of cheering up, you just end up emotionally confused, like when your GPS says you've arrived, but you're literally in the middle of a swamp. In fact, one study found that people who were forced to smile during stressful tasks reported feeling worse, not better. It's like your face was gaslighting your emotions, and your brain didn't appreciate the betrayal. So yeah, maybe don't grin your way through a mental breakdown. Sometimes the healthiest thing your face can do is nothing at all. You've probably heard this one, just visualize your goals. Picture it vividly, feel the success, manifest it into reality. You close your eyes, imagine the applause, the six-pack, the best-selling novel. You open your eyes, still on the couch, eating expired cereal in your pajamas. What gives? Here's the catch. Visualizing success can actually make you less likely to succeed. Why? Because your brain is lazy and weird. When you vividly imagine achieving your goal, your brain gets a little dopamine rush as if you've already done the thing. You feel good, satisfied, fulfilled, and then you promptly do nothing. It's like your brain threw you a tiny party for an accomplishment you didn't earn. Classic premature celebration. Psychologists call it mental contrasting, and the key isn't just visualizing success, but also picturing the hard, annoying obstacles you'll have to face to get there. Otherwise, you're just daydreaming yourself into mediocrity. So yeah, go ahead and picture yourself with abs. But maybe also picture the 5 a.m. workouts, the spinach smoothies, and the burning rejection of cake. Otherwise, you're just tricking yourself into motivational bankruptcy. Eye contact is supposed to be the universal key to connection. Want to seem confident? Hold eye contact. Want to seem trustworthy? Maintain eye contact. Want to make someone fall in love with you in 4 minutes? There's a TED Talk for that. Of course there is. But here's the thing. There's a very thin, very awkward line between confidence and creepy, unblinking owl person. If you've ever tried to keep strong eye contact during a conversation and found yourself mentally counting how many seconds is too many before you blink, congratulations, you've met the eye contact trap. Turns out excessive eye contact doesn't always build trust. In fact, studies show that in high-stakes situations, especially arguments or interviews, too much eye contact can make people feel attacked. As in, fight or flight triggered, this person might be a sociopath kind of attacked. The brain literally interprets prolonged staring as a threat. You're not connecting, you're visually mugging them. Even worse, people trying to appear honest with forced eye contact often come across as less sincere. Because you know who always maintains intense eye contact without blinking? Con artists, and sharks, and malfunctioning animatronics. So next time you're trying to seem confident, try the 60-40 rule. Look at them most of the time, then glance away like a normal human. Don't go full Terminator. No one likes that. You are smart, you are successful, you are deeply loved. You will finish that project on time and your boss secretly admires your memes. Say it with me, I am thriving. Feel better, maybe. Feel slightly delusional, also maybe. Positive affirmations are one of the most popular psychology tricks out there. A daily pep talk in the mirror, a little confidence whisper to get you through the day. But here's the psychological plot twist. If you don't believe what you're saying, affirmations can make you feel worse. Researchers found that when people with low self-esteem repeated overly positive statements like, "I am a lovable person," their brains basically went, "No, you're not, don't lie to me," and tanked their mood even further. It's like your self-doubt showed up with a megaphone and started booing your morning routine. Basically, your inner critic doesn't go down quietly, especially when you pretend everything's perfect. What works better? Realistic affirmations. Instead of "I'm amazing and flawless," try "I'm doing my best and that's enough." Less toxic positivity, more grounded self-compassion. Or, skip the mirror talk entirely and just drink some water. It might be more effective. We've all heard it, fake it till you make it. Just act like you're confident until you become confident. Strut into that room like you own the building, even if your brain is quietly screaming and your armpits are staging a rebellion. But here's where the wheels come off. When you fake it for too long, especially in social or professional settings, you risk slipping into something psychologists call surface acting. That's when you're constantly putting on a mask, pretending to feel emotions you don't actually have. Think, smiling through customer service rage, pretending enthusiasm during your 5th Zoom meeting of the day, or laughing at your boss's jokes about golf. Again. Over time, this emotional labor creates a weird kind of burnout. You're not tired from work, you're tired from pretending. Research shows that surface acting increases stress, reduces job satisfaction, and even leads to lower performance. Because your brain hates lies, even polite ones. So sure, fake it a little when you need to, but don't lose track of what's real underneath. Otherwise, you're not building confidence, you're just emotionally catfishing yourself. Imagine this, you've had a terrible day. Your boss was a jerk, your coffee was watery, and your inbox is a flaming landfill. You call up your best friend to vent. You yell, you rant. You unleash a Shakespearean monologue of frustration. And somehow, you feel worse. Contrary to what your emotionally exhausted soul might believe, venting doesn't always let off steam. That's an old idea based on a theory called catharsis, which basically says anger is like pressure in a boiler. If you don't release it, you explode. So yelling into the void should help, right? Well, not really. Studies show that venting, especially aggressive venting, doesn't reduce anger. It often amplifies it, like putting your emotions on a treadmill and asking them to run faster. You rehearse your rage, relive every injustice, and before you know it, your brain is marinating in cortisol soup. Even punching a pillow doesn't help. In one experiment, people who hit a punching bag while thinking about someone who angered them actually became more hostile afterward. Turns out, your brain treats venting like emotional cardio. The more you do it, the better it gets at being mad. So next time you're tempted to rage dump all over your friend, try naming your emotions instead. Or journal. Or, scream into a loaf of bread. At least then you have toast. You're on a Zoom call, checking your email, replying to Slack messages, and trying to remember what day it is all at once. You feel productive. You feel efficient. You feel like a cyber octopus of professional excellence. But here's the cold truth. Multitasking is not a superpower. It's a brain glitch, and it's frying your cognitive bandwidth like a cheap toaster. When you multitask, you're not actually doing things simultaneously. Your brain is rapidly switching back and forth, which burns extra mental fuel. It's called task switching cost, and it slows you down while making you feel like you're speeding up. Sneaky, right? Research shows that heavy multitaskers are worse at filtering out irrelevant information, remembering details, and even switching between tasks efficiently. It's like trying to juggle flaming swords with oven mitts on. Plus, over time, your attention span shrinks faster than your phone battery at 3% with Bluetooth on. Even worse, chronic multitasking has been linked to lower gray matter density in the anterior cingulate cortex, the part of your brain that handles focus and emotional regulation. That's right, multitasking can literally shrink your brain. Fun. So yeah, maybe close a few tabs, or at least pick one disaster to focus on at a time. You're lying in bed, staring at the ceiling. You replay that awkward thing you said 6 years ago. You analyze every text message like it's a CIA transcript. You worry about worrying too much and then worry about that. Congrats, you're overthinking, again. We often mistake overthinking for being thoughtful, wise, or prepared, like we're somehow solving problems by mentally pacing in circles. But overthinking is actually the psychological equivalent of revving your car engine in neutral. Loud, stressful, and completely unproductive. Psychologists call it rumination, repetitive negative thinking that doesn't lead to action. And it's been linked to anxiety, depression, insomnia, and even heart disease. Because your body doesn't know the difference between a real problem and a mental loop. It just floods you with stress hormones either way. Even worse, overthinking reduces decision-making quality. You get stuck in analysis paralysis, obsessing over outcomes that may never happen until you choose nothing and spiral into a shame burrito. So how do you stop? Ironically, not by thinking more. Try action, movement, distraction, talk it out. Or write it down and then walk away from the paper like it's radioactive. Because sometimes your brain needs a break from itself. Take a deep breath, hold it, exhale slowly, feels good, right? Well, if you're doing it correctly, which, let's be honest, most people aren't. Because somewhere along the way, take a deep breath turned into inflate your chest like a balloon animal at a kid's party. When you're stressed and you try to calm down by taking big chest breaths, you're actually triggering more anxiety. That shallow, high-up breathing activates your sympathetic nervous system, the same system that thinks a tiger is about to eat you. It's your body's way of saying, prepare for battle or a public speaking engagement. Proper deep breathing, the kind that actually works, involves your diaphragm, not your shoulders. It means expanding your belly, not your ribcage. But since no one wants to walk around looking like they're faking a pregnancy, most of us default to dramatic chest puffing and end up making ourselves more tense. Plus, if you overdo it, say, by hyper-focusing on perfect breath patterns or counting to 12 while holding your lungs hostage, you risk spiraling into what's called breathwork anxiety. It's like meditation, but with more panic. So yes, deep breathing can work, but only if you're not turning it into an Olympic event. Keep it slow, low, and undramatic. Your lungs don't need to cosplay as bagpipes. Journaling is the darling of self-help culture. Every influencer swears by it. Start your day with intention, they say, over herbal tea and perfect lighting. Reflect on your feelings, manifest your dreams. But journaling isn't always sunshine and vision boards. If you're not careful, it can turn into a self-pity rave, a place where you obsess over the same emotional wounds on repeat like a scratched emo record. There's even a name for this: expressive writing rumination. Studies show that if you use journaling as a way to rehash trauma or wallow in frustration without resolution, it can increase depressive symptoms and emotional distress. You're not processing your emotions, you're emotionally doom-scrolling through your own thoughts. It's like emotional Netflix binging with no plot development. So how do you journal without spiraling? Focus on solutions, reframe your thoughts, or write like you're giving advice to a friend, not a judge on America's Got Neuroses. Gratitude journaling works too, just don't fake it. I'm grateful for coffee works. I'm grateful for the pain because it makes me stronger is how you gaslight yourself into spiritual burnout. Write it out, just don't write yourself into the void. Being self-aware is great. It helps you recognize your flaws, take responsibility, and maybe even stop texting your ex. But there's a dark side. Excessive self-awareness can make you socially anxious, emotionally frozen, and mentally exhausted. It's called self-focused attention, and it turns your inner monologue into a 24/7 live commentary of your own behavior. Am I talking too much? Should I stand like this? Did that joke land? Oh God, why are my hands doing that thing? Basically, you become your own annoying sports announcer, analyzing every move in real time. Ironically, trying too hard to be socially correct often makes you more awkward. Because you're not present, you're busy simulating how you look being present. Which means your brain is working double shifts while your personality calls in sick. Studies show that people who are constantly self-monitoring struggle more with decision-making and confidence. And in social situations, they appear less authentic because they're trying to run a PR campaign for their own existence. So if you find yourself spiraling into hyper-awareness, try this: shift your focus outward. Notice other people, the environment, the sounds around you. Your brain loves novelty. Distract it with reality. Because sometimes the best way to be yourself is to stop thinking about yourself. You know the scene? You stand in front of the mirror, fists clenched, eyes blazing, whispering something like, "I am unstoppable," while maintaining aggressive eye contact with your own reflection. It's supposed to be empowering. But instead, it feels like you're rehearsing for a villain monologue in a low-budget superhero movie. Mirror motivation, hyping yourself up with bold statements in front of your own face, sounds good in theory. But for some people, it triggers what psychologists call cognitive dissonance. That's when your brain basically yells, "This doesn't line up with reality," and files your motivational speech under emotional fraud. The result, you feel fake, cringe, maybe even more insecure than when you started. Especially if your inner critic has front row seats and a megaphone, you can't tell yourself you're unstoppable when you just spilled coffee on your shirt and cried over a parking ticket. Your brain demands receipts. Plus, staring into your own eyes while trying to feel powerful is a strange vibe. It's like emotionally speed dating yourself, except you're not sure you'd call you back. Does it work for some people? Sure. If your self-esteem is already sturdy, mirror motivation can give you a nice confidence boost. But if you're already wobbling on the tightrope of self-doubt, shouting at yourself in the bathroom might just make you feel like a motivational maniac. So maybe skip the mirror theatrics and try something more subtle. Like, a playlist and a quiet sense of "I got this." Mindfulness is everywhere. Apps, podcasts, Instagram therapists with soothing voices. You can't walk 10 feet in the self-help section without being told to be present. And yes, in moderation, mindfulness is helpful. But here's where things go sideways, when mindfulness becomes a full-time job. Some people fall into what researchers call hyperawareness anxiety, constantly scanning their thoughts, breath, and bodily sensations in the name of self-regulation. You're not living in the moment, you're stalking it like an emotional detective. This turns your inner peace into a performance. You're not just breathing, you're judging how well you're breathing. You're not observing your thoughts, you're rating them like Yelp reviews. 5 stars for serenity, 1 star for intrusive panic spiral. Even worse, for people with trauma or anxiety disorders, too much mindfulness can backfire. Sitting in stillness with nothing but your thoughts can feel like locking yourself in a room with a fire alarm. Loud, inescapable, not remotely peaceful. The truth is, not every thought needs to be dissected. Not every feeling needs a label. Sometimes, mindful just means noticing you're alive and not actively on fire. And that's enough. So yeah, practice mindfulness, just don't make it your personality. And finally, let's talk about the big one, the smiley-faced villain of mental wellness, toxic positivity. You've seen it, maybe you've done it. That chirpy insistence that everything happens for a reason when someone's clearly falling apart. The relentless optimism that bulldozes over nuance, grief, and actual human complexity. The psychology behind it, people hate discomfort. We hate seeing others in pain, and we really hate feeling like we can't fix it. So we slap on a motivational quote like it's an emotional band-aid. Just be grateful. Look on the bright side. It could be worse. The problem? These phrases invalidate real experiences. They shut down vulnerability in favor of cheap comfort. And research shows that people who feel pressured to stay positive in hard times actually end up feeling more isolated and ashamed. It's like giving someone drowning a t-shirt that says, "Just breathe." Real support means sitting with discomfort, not shoving it into a Pinterest board. Life is messy. Emotions are messy. And pretending otherwise just makes everything stickier. So next time someone's struggling, maybe skip the sunshine slogans and say this instead: "That sucks. I'm here." You'd be amazed what honesty can do.